Hello and welcome. In this video, I will demonstrate how you can subset data that have been imported in the KIWI ExploreLive module. There are two different ways you can subset data in ExploreLive. First, you can create a modified data set in the data module. One of the modification or manipulation that you can perform is the subsetting and the filtering of your source data. The second approach is to directly subset the data in a plot, table, or analysis module. The two approaches have slight differences, and I will try to highlight the benefits of each approach. I'm going to switch to an active ExploreLive session in which I have already imported a pharmacokinetic dataset called demo.csv. In a previous tutorial, we have demonstrated how you can create copies of this imported data and modify this dataset using the Subset and Transform Content tab. You can create modified datasets. And as I mentioned, one of the modifications that you can do is subsetting the data using either a R conditional expression or a predefined filter based upon the subject ID and potentially co-viable. The application of the subset and clicking on the Save button will create a data set, a modified data set that is available on all the plot, table, and analysis module. So the benefit of subsetting the data in this place is the creation of this data set that can be reused at different places. So you don't have to repeat the steps of subsetting or providing the conditional expression directly in the module. As I mentioned, you can also implement some data subset directly in a plot module, a table, or an analysis module. All those modules will contain a data subset tab that will look similar to what is shown here with different fields. You can, first of all, provide an expression. And it's the same type of valid expression that you would have used in the data module. So here I'm going to filter by, let's say, dose lower than 30. And oopsie, that's the wrong expression. And by doing so, I'm actually getting rid of data from study 2 and 3. So that subset is performed on top of any subset that would have been done to create that modified dataset. You can create very complex R expression, or you can combine multiple expressions that are more simple by entering another expression on the second line. And in this case, I've excluded the dose 10, so I end up with only the dose 20. At the bottom, the application will give you a summary of the expression that has been created by combining those two expressions, number of records prior to the subset and after the subset. So there are additional fields here that you can use. First of all, you can invert the expression. So by default, we include the record that match the expression. Here you can select to exclude based upon this expression. So here that creates a slightly different result. You can also, when combining multiple expression, you can use an AND or an OR logical operator. So combining the two expression will create again, a slightly different subset of the data. Finally, the last thing that you can do is include or apply or not apply any of those expressions and see what it would do. I don't think that changed much, this one, but this one probably does. Yes, that changed the expression. So this is a very brief description of what you can do with the data subset. So it's a little bit different from what you have in the data subset, in a sense that you cannot really use those predefined filter. You can only use expression, but you can combine them in a little bit more intuitive manner than what is available, not intuitive, but more flexible way than what is allowed in data subset. The main benefit of having the capability to subset data within a module is that if you have created a modified data set, selected a whole lot of graphical options, and realized that you forgot something during the creation of a modified data set, you don't have to go back to the data module, recreate your data, and then repeat all of these settings. You can directly go here and exclude, or you cannot really include any data that you would have excluded from your modified data set, but you can further filter by using the data subset in the plot module or the table module. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that by modifying a subset or modifying a modified data set, so let's say I didn't want to use a 100, but I wanted to use a 200 threshold. If I modified my data and go back to the scatter plot, what happened is that your settings are actually erased. The reason is that all those fields here, all those selections depend on the data, the content of the data that you select. Since you modified a data set, everything gets invalidated and you start from scratch pretty much. So that is a reason why you may want to use the data subset rather than going back to a data subset, not really repeating what you've done. So as I mentioned earlier, this data subset functionality is available in all the plot and table. So you will see a data subset. Typically in the advanced setting panel, some modules don't have an advanced setting, so you will see directly your data subset in the main setting panel. This concludes the presentation of data subset functionality. If you have any question, you can always refer back to the user manual or send us an email at kiwisupport@cognigencorp.com. Thank you very much.